Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranams.
Pranam, Prabhuji. Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji, video and audio both are clear, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Dandat Pranams to all. We welcome all of you for the today's morning program, Nityam Bhagavatha Sevaya. And today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Haridev Krishna Prabhu, and he will enlighten us on Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, chapter, verses 6 and 7. Over to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We will start with prayers. Firstly, I seek the blessings of all the devotees so that I'm able to repeat what I've heard for my own purification, for Lord's glorification, and for the pleasure of all the Vaishnavis. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So today we will be reciting from the Bhagavatam chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto, chapter 4, characteristics of Rishabhadev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, text 6 and 7. Yasyaha पाण्डवेय श्लोकाव उदाहरन्ति को नु तत्कर्म राजर्षेर्नाभेरन्व आचरेत् पुमान् अपत्यताम् अगाद्यस्य हरिशुद्धेन कर्मणा को नु तत्कर्म राजर्षेर्नाभेरन्व आचरेत् पुमान् अपत्यताम् अगाद्यस्य हरिः शुद्धेन कर्मणा को नु तत्कर्म राजर्षेर्नाभेरन्व आचरेत् पुमान् हरे कृष्ण अपत्यताम् अगाध यस्य हरिः शुद्धेन कर्मणा word to word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Yasya, of whom, ha, indeed, Pandaveya, Maharaj Parikshit, Shlokau, 2 verses, Udahranti, recited, recite, Ka, who, nu, then, tat, that, karma, work, Rajarshir, of the pious king, Nabhe, Nabi, Anu, following, Acharet, could execute, Puman, a man, Apatyatam, sonhood, Agath, accepted, Yasya, whose, Harihi, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shuddhena, pure, executed in devotional service, Karmana, by activities. Translation. O Maharaj Parikshit, to glorify Maharaj Nabi, the old sages composed 2 verses. One of them is, who can attain the perfection of Maharaj Nabi? Who can attain his activities? Because of his devotional service, the Supreme Personality of Godhead agreed to become his son. Purport. The words Shuddha Karmana are very significant in this verse. If work is not carried out in devotional service, it is contaminated by the modes of material nature. That is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Yajnarthat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Activities performed only for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord are pure and are not contaminated by the modes of material nature. All other activities are contaminated by the modes of ignorance and passion as well as goodness. All material activities meant for satisfying the senses are contaminated, and Maharaj Nabi did not perform anything contaminated. He simply executed his transcendental activities even when performing yajna. Consequently, he obtained the Supreme Lord as his son. We offer prayers and then begin discussion. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam tam sajivam sadvaitam savadutam parijana sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauravatvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So in this chapter, background is that the previous chapter we saw how out of all the sons of Agnidra, there were 9, and each of them were given one dvipa, and Maharaj Nabi performed the penance, and he performed the sacrifice with a desire to attain the Supreme Lord as his son. And consequently, the Lord said, you want to, Maharaj Nabi actually wanted a son like the Supreme Lord, but because the Lord is called Asamurdbhava, there is no one equal to or greater than him. He is one without a second. The Lord said, it is impossible for me to give you a son like me, because there's nobody like me. So I myself will appear as a son, as your son. And these benedictions were heard by both Maharaj Nabi and his good wife Meru Devi, and both of them were very, very ecstatic. And we also saw in the previous chapter how it was the great sages who were performing the sacrifice and actually pleading on behalf of Maharaj Nabi, that Maharaj Nabi has this desire, and please fulfill this desire, O Lord. And they were also condemning Maharaj Nabi for the Lord can give us greater things, which is personal service, but he's after all asking for a son like that. They were condemning, or in one sense, they were saying that the Lord is so merciful that although Lord can give us bigger things, but when a person asks for uh, insignificant things, just like when you go to Bill Gates and ask, can you give me 100 rupees? He may be surprised. Why is this person coming and asking me such a petty thing? But nonetheless, the Lord agrees to give. So there we see that on one hand, the great sages were pleading on behalf of Maharaj Nabi. And why were they pleading? Because Maharaj Nabi was very, very sincere. And he, uh, uh, and therefore the pure devotees, they thought, let us plead on his behalf. And you'll see the two themes continuing, how Maharaj Nabi was fortunate to beget Rishabdev as his son, and also how he was mercifully blessed, not just by the Lord, but the great sages, the great Brahmanas who performed the yajna, they were also very, very favorably disposed to the to Maharaj Nabi, and they prayed for his desire to be fulfilled, and also in the form of sometimes condemning or ridiculing, they are also giving an aspiration for Maharaj Nabi, that what is the ultimate thing to be looked at that way. So same theme is continuing here. In the next chapter here, it Maharaj Parikshit, Shukdev Goswami is narrating this. So Maharaj Parikshit, some old sages, they glorified Maharaj Nabi here. And in this verse, Ko nu Tat Karma Rajar share. So firstly, the word Rajarshi. So the whole Vedic process is divided into 4 Varnas and 4 Ashrams: the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. And for a peaceful society, all of them must be God-centered. And Kshatriya means one who's into ruling the country. So he's a Raja, but at the same time, the Kshatriyas who are devoted to God, called Rajarshir. Why? Because they constantly take guidance from the great rishis, the renunciates, and they mold their life also in such a way that, along with maintaining and ruling the kingdom, they always adhere to all the principles of dharma and devotion to the Supreme Lord. So, Rajarshi, even Krishna tells in the Bhagavad Gita, in the fourth chapter, how um, imam te vivasvataan yogan proktavan aham abhyayam. After that, evam parampara praptir imam rajarshiyo vidu sayena kala mahata yogo nasya parantapa. So, a rajarshi has a great responsibility. Why? Because Krishna is telling the whole parampara of the Bhagavad Gita or the spiritual knowledge can actually continue only when there is a Raja-rishi ruling. Evam parampara prapto imam Raja-rishiyo viduhu. Saeva sakalena mahata yogo nashta parantapa. Just open that thing so that we... The supreme science was thus received through disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. And when the saintly kings understand the message of the parampara, then the whole country will follow. So then there is peace and prosperity indeed. So same way here we see that Nabi was not just an ordinary Raja, he was a Raja Rishi. And how do we say he is a Raja Rishi? What are the symptoms of a person? Even as leaders for all of us in our own circles, some of us may be leading a small team, or even if we are not leading anything, we may be considered as a person in the family from whom others take inspiration, or heading the family, etc. So, what are the symptoms of a Raja Rishi? We can see Maharaj Nabi, when he was praying for a son, externally it may look just a trivial material desire like that. Just like Kardama Muni. Kardama Muni was also praying for a wife. It may look like it is a material thing, but the Lord, we will see, cannot appear in the purport. Prabhupada is saying, just like so many people may ask so many things, but the Lord agrees to become their son only when he sees sincerity in the desire of the person. So here, Maharaj Nabi, one of the qualities of a Raja Rishi is, or any leader, is he's very, very responsible towards his duties. As a Raja Rishi, he understood that it is also one of my duty that after I leave, I have a able person to continue governing and ruling the kingdom. And as a grahastha, it is the responsibility of one to beget Krishna conscious children. So he did not want to get children just for the sake of getting a child. He really wanted to be deeply taking shelter of Krishna and getting a very, very Krishna conscious child. So this is a symptom of responsibility. Understanding that everything that we are doing should be an offering to Vishnu. And Krishna says, Dharmo Viru, what is that? Kamosmi Bharatar Shabad. That act of begetting a child, which is in line with principles of dharma, that means to get a Krishna conscious child, that is not considered a lusty act. In fact, it is considered as grahastha dharma also, like that. So he was very responsible in that sense. And seeing his sincerity of desire, the great sages also recommended and pleaded on his behalf. And the Lord also mercifully agreed to become the son of King Nabi. And another symptom of a Raja Rishi is constantly being guided by the Brahmanas to such an extent that the Brahmanas were ridiculing Maharaj Nabi in public, in the sacrificial arena. So that is a Raja Rishi. Raja Rishi means he doesn't have big egos that the Brahmanas cannot correct him in public. So they always are subservient to the great sages, the Brahmanas. So same way in our life also, mm, we may be head of something, but we should always be under the instructions of the Guru. That should be like a stick guiding us. What is correct, what is wrong, that way. So when we are subservient to that, then we can discharge our responsibility also perfectly. So that is another symptom of Raja Rishi. And third symptom of Raja Rishi is uh, along with our day-to-day activities, one cultivates Krishna consciousness simultaneously, parallelly, and therefore, once when his responsibilities get over, he feels because he is tuned to cultivating Krishna consciousness daily. When his responsibilities he feels is time to give up, he can fully devote his mind into Krishna. Just like in the Sunday Bhagavatam classes, we were hearing about Bhishma Stuti. So Bhishma is saying, let me now divert all my attention, focus all my attention to remembering the qualities, the form of Lord, and let me detach it from all political things. So there we were hearing also how uh, it is said, whatever we cultivate throughout life is what we can accumulate or think of at the time of death. Now, if Bhishma is able to think of the Lord at the time of death, he may, out of humility, say he was engaging in all activities. That is true also. He was engaging in material activities like diplomacy, etc. But his consciousness was always into thinking about Lord. So that is another symptom of Raja Rishi. And then another symptom of Raja Rishi is um, he's not attached to the kingly position. We will see very soon that Maharaj Nabi eventually goes to Badrik Ashram as soon as he feels Rishabhadev is fit enough to inherit the kingdom of God. So in this world, Srila Prabhupada also many a times writes in several purports, the leaders should all be Rajarishi. And for us practically, wherever we are, we can also try our best to be a saintly person, because the nature of Grahastha ashram is when we are involved in material activities, there is always tendency of getting too passionate, too ignorant. But regularly, when we are guided by goodness, pure goodness, by the words of the sadhus, then we can also try to be one such saintly person, although doing material activities, and set a good example. Another symptom of Raja Rishi is setting a good example. We have heard the greatest gift that anyone can give to this world is our own good example. And all these saintly kings, they wanted to be an ideal exemplary person. Even Ramachandra, Lord Ramachandra, wanted to be such a nice example that uh, just for a washerman doubting about the lenience given to Sita Mata, uh, Lord Ramchandra was ready to cause pain to his own heart and to the heart of his beloved wife Sita and banish her. So this is the extent to which saintly people want to set a right example. There are other examples we see in the Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna says, I personally, Yadyat Acharati Shreshtas. After that, Krishna says, great kings like King Janak and I myself, although I have no duties to perform, no activities to perform, still I very dutifully do all the activities of Grahastha Dharma. And when Narada went to all the 16,000 palaces, that is what he saw. In one place, Lord Krishna was doing some yagya. In one more place, he was playing with his grandchildren, like that. So he was doing all his responsibilities in a uh, uh, not in a uh, careless manner, very, very meticulous, but not forgetting. And for us as devotees, responsibility means responsibility not just for their bodies, but also for their soul. So both hand in hand. That is uh, something that we can think of. And from the purport here, Prabhupada's purport, Prabhupada is mentioning here, the first word Shuddha Karmana is very significant in this verse. Any work, if it is not carried out in devotional service, it is contaminated by the modes of material nature. So I was trying to recollect in the Kapila Dev section. Kapila Dev actually tells Devahuti how devotional service is transcendental, but because the person who is performing it is contaminated by the modes of material nature, so there is a tendency that his bhakti may also come in different modes. Bhakti is transcendental, but the performer being contaminated, because of that, the bhakti may also appear as though in different modes. And here is what it is mentioned here. Lord Kapila, the personality of God, had replied, O noble lady, there are multifarious paths of devotional service in terms of different qualities of the executor. And what is bhakti performed in mode of darkness? Devotional service executed by a person who is envious, who is proud, who is violent and angry, and who is a separatist. Just a minute, devotees, please forgive me. Please forgive me. Devotional service executed by a person who is envious, proud, violent, and angry, and who is a separatist, is considered to be in darkness. So, somebody performs bhakti in order to take revenge, like that. So, who is angry, like so. Such a person, and who is a separatist. A separatist means, here Prabhupada in the purport also writes, the Mayavadis actually they take advantage of these three verses, and they say all devotees, because you are separatist, they say. Why devotees are separatist? Because you say you are separate from God. So they tell devotees are separatist, but actually a separatist means one whose interest is separate from that of the Lord. So, if devotees are actually in oneness with Lord, not in terms of identity, but oneness in terms of desire. Now, we can see somebody who's performing devotional service out of envy, out of pride, like Daksha. We'll see Daksha was performing the great sacrifice, but he was performing it out of pride and he was envious of Lord Shiva. So, externally, he was doing a sacrifice, and he also was violent, he was angry, he rebuked, chastised Lord Shiva. So the result of that sacrifice was not appearance of Vishnu, but getting getting his head cut off and getting a goat head, like that. So, and what is a separatist? I've heard once from senior devotees that if, let us say, we consider somebody as our own member of the family, like the mother considers the child as her own self. So when the child is enjoying, the mother doesn't feel why my child is enjoying. The mother is happy that the child is enjoying. Let us say the child gets married to a very good counterpart and gets married. The mother is happy. The mother is not thinking, how come this person got such a beautiful wife or beautiful, handsome husband, like that. Mother is happy actually. In the same way, pure devotee, for them, they see Krishna as their own family member. So when Krishna is enjoying with the gopis, they don't feel envious of Krishna. Like, why Krishna? You are having so many beautiful girls, but you are saying we should not, like that. So that is a devotional service performed out of envy or a separatist. They see themselves separate from the Lord. And and when we see ourselves having separate interest from Lord, then only we become violent, we become angry, because we know if I am a member of Lord's family, then I am also member of the family of all other children of God, all living entities. So I can never become violent with another living entity. I can never become envious of another living entity, because they are, after all, my brothers and sisters, like that. So that way. So that is devotional service in mode of darkness. And why we are discussing this? Just to because Prabhupada is mentioning here, if it is not carried out in devotional service. So what are the things that is not carried out in devotional service and contaminated by modes of nature? We may be performing bhakti only, but performing bhakti out of pride, out of violence or anger. One other practical example is, sometimes, let us say, we had a tussle with some devotee while chanting. Also, sometimes that person may be angry with that devotee and may be thinking, this devotee said like this, I hope Krishna will teach him a nice lesson, like that. So we are holding the japamala, but we are angry, like that. So that is also considered in darkness. And what is devotional service in mode of passion? The worship of deities in a temple, again by a separatist, with a motive for material enjoyment, fame, opulence, etc. That is in mode of passion. So you can see how the pure devotees are so rare. They are compared to like a touchstone. Whatever dirty modes we come into, but a pure devotee can actually transform all these dirty modes into the right path and make us get the real purpose of bhakti. Like if you look at Dhruva Maharaj, he was initially angry with his father, and he wanted fame and opulence. But just by coming into contact with Narada Muni, immediately Narada, without even making him realize that you have to transcend to a higher platform of bhakti, gave him the highest platform of worshipping God. So we see that is the nature of meeting a pure devotee. So this is the worship in mode of passion, done with a motive for material enjoyment. Sometimes while doing our chanting, um, most of the time we see that Swanishtita Bhakta means, even while doing chanting, the thoughts of office percolate his consciousness, office, job, household responsibility, like that. So that means he's so engrossed in the daily responsibilities that he's unable to detach himself. So this is a test also. Daily, if we are able to detach ourselves for 2 hours while chanting, then like Bhishma Dev, we can also withdraw at the time of death from all other responsibilities. So that opportunity is given for us daily, like that. So we may say, I don't worship Lord for material enjoyment, fame, opulence. But how to check whether such desires are there within the heart? Is when chanting comes, we still think about, oh, how to set this right in office. That means there is so much fear in the material world, whether things will be okay, things will not be okay, like that. And sometimes we ask, so called, I want to be liberated from this world. Not because of desire to serve the Lord, but because of all these pains of the material world. So that is again worship in the mode of goodness. So when one worships Lord in the mode of goodness, he offers his activities, that means chanting or whatever, in order to get himself free from the inabilities of the fruitive activities, of all this karma cycle. He wants to get rid of this all pain, suffering, etc., and be peaceful. So that way. So there also the center is me only. Previously it was my fame. Now my peace of mind. I'm fed up in this material world, like that. But what is a person who is performing bhakti in unadulterated manner? He is his mind is attracted to hearing the transcendental name qualities of Supreme Lord. This is a famous shloka. Mad guna shruti matrena mai sarva guhashaye manogatir avichinna yata Ganga ambaso ambudau. Just like Ganges water uninterruptedly flows to the ocean, in the same way, naturally flows to the ocean. His heart is naturally attracted to the qualities of the Lord, like that. And in the purport, in one of these slokas, Prabhupada writes that Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, all these 9 also can fall under 3 modes. So we can do Shravanam with passion, Shravanam in ignorance, Shravanam in goodness. Goodness means pure goodness, like that. So in that way, performing bhakti unadulterated. So this is a checkpoint for us also, that till the point we come to a natural attraction that, oh, Lord is so nice, his qualities are nice, his activities are so nice, his devotees are so nice, their compassion is so nice. So when we are touched by them, then it is pure devotional service. Prabhupada is writing here also, all activities meant for satisfying senses are contaminated, and activities performed only for satisfaction of Supreme Lord are pure and not contaminated. So sometimes if satisfaction of Supreme Lord becomes a far-fetched object for us, then one can perform everything for the satisfaction of the spiritual master, who is more visible to our eyes, who the divine qualities we can see right in front of our eyes. So that is how all the disciples of Prabhupada quickly transcended the modes of nature, because they were doing everything just to please Srila Prabhupada. So this is something that we can listen, read here and understand. And Prabhupada is also clarifying, although Maharaj Nabi wanted the child, he did not do it for his own satisfaction. He was attracted to the divine qualities of Lord, and he also wanted to beget a very, very Krishna conscious child as a matter of responsible king. So in that way, he was trying to offer his Varnashram duties as an offering to the Supreme Lord. So this is something that we can discuss from this verse. And the next shloka talks about how he was fortunate to be blessed by the Brahmanas, and they pleaded on his behalf. Brahmanyo anya kuto na ber vipra mangala pujita yasya barhishi yagnesham darshayan asurojasa. Brahmanya, a devotee of the Brahmanas, Anyaha, any other, Kutha, where is Nabe, besides Maharaj Nabi, Vipra, the Brahmanas, Mangala Pujita, well worshipped and satisfied, Yasya, of whom, Barhishi, the sacrificial arena, Yagna Isham, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the enjoyer of all sacrificial ceremonies, Darshayam Asuhu, showed Ojasa by their Brahminical powers. The second prayer is, who is a better worshipper of the Brahmanas than Maharaj Nabi? Because he worshipped the qualified Brahmanas to their full satisfaction. Because he did that, the Brahmanas, by their Brahminical prowess, showed Maharaj Nabi the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, in person. Purport. The Brahmanas engaged as priests in the sacrificial ceremony were not ordinary Brahmanas. They were so powerful that they could bring forth the Supreme Personality of Godhead by their prayers. Maharaj Nabi was able to see the Lord face to face. Unless one is a Vaishnava, he cannot call forth for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Lord does not accept an invitation unless one is Vaishnava. Therefore, it is said in Padma Puran, Satkarma Nipuno Vipro Mantra Tantra Visharada Vaishnavo Guru Syad Vaishnava Sva Pacho Guruhu. So, scholarly Brahmana, expert in all subjects of Vedic knowledge, is unfit to become a spiritual master without becoming a Vaishnava. Satkarna Nipuno, very expert in doing all daily activities, and a very expert in mantra, tantra also, but he's a Vaishnava, so then he cannot be a guru. But what about even if he's born in a Shvapacha, the family of dog eaters, or this one, still he's a Vaishnava. No. So even if he's in a low caste thing, but if he's a Vaishnava, he can become the spiritual master. These Brahmanas were certainly very expert in chanting Vedic mantras. They were also competent to perform the Vedic rituals, but above that, they were the Vaishnavas. Therefore, by the spiritual powers, they could call on the Supreme Personality of Godhead and enable their disciple Maharaj Nabi to see the Lord face to face. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments the word Ojasa means by dint of devotional service. So here we can see on the glory of pleasing a Vaishnava, because when the Vaishnavas are fully satisfied, and the pure devotees, when they plead on our behalf, the Lord mercifully glances upon us, and then he gives us his blessings. So many pastimes we see. We see how Indra, when he committed a mistake, he went with Surabhi because he understood the principle. And even this one, we see one other, able to recollect one of the other pastimes also where went, and even in Chaitanya Charitamrita we see so many pastimes like that. When they wanted to get something from Lord, they went through the devotees, like Raghunath Das Goswami tried to attain Mahaprabhu's lotus feet directly, and in Panihati, when he first tried to please Nityanand Prabhu and then all the Vaishnavas, as soon as he came, Nityanand Prabhu said, "You're a thief because you're trying to steal Mahaprabhu." Mahaprabhu is the property. Krishna is the property of the, in the NOD also it is said, only bhakti can give rise to bhakti. So the devotee alone can give bhakti. So Krishna says, bhakti I cannot give, only my pure devotee. So we have to follow that channel, please the pure devotees, and through them get the mercy. So then Nityanand Prabhu called Raghunath Das Goswami as a thief because he was trying to steal bhakti directly from Mahaprabhu without approaching Nityanand Prabhu and pleasing the Vaishnavas. And same way we see Srivas Thakur, whenever somebody is connected to a pure devotee, then the tailor was able to see the dance of Mahaprabhu because he was personally connected to Srivas Thakur. Lord said, Prahlad, because Hiranyakashipu is connected to you, not just he, 21 generations will be delivered, like that. So connection to a pure devotee is the most powerful thing to attain the mercy of the Supreme Lord. And Mahaprabhu himself during his Leela said, who is a Vaishnava? Kiba Vipra Kibanyasi Shudra Kenanoi, Hey Krishna Tattva Veta, say Guru Hoy. Who is a this one? Kiba Vipra Kibanyasi. Who is a Brahmana or Vaishnava? A Krishna Tattva, one who knows the Krishna Tattva. It doesn't matter whether he's a Vipra, Sannyasi, Shudra, but he needs to know the signs of Krishna. And Mahaprabhu also said during the South Indian tour also, I only would like to stay in the house of a millionaire, like that. So then most of them became very depressed because Vaishnavas, we are very simple, we don't have so much money. Then Mahaprabhu said, when I said this one, I would stay in the house of people who chant at least 1 lakh names of Hare Krishna in Lakpati house. And who is that Lakpati? One who chants 1 lakh times the Hare Krishna, or the 1 lakh names of God every day. So his house I will stay, like that. And when Mahaprabhu was in Varanasi, he also did the same thing. He stayed in the house of Chandrasekhar Acharya. And for Prasadam, I think Mahaprabhu went to Tapan Mishra's house. Although Mahaprabhu was happy to take at Chandrasekhar Acharya's place, but because of the prevailing customs there, so Mahaprabhu never categorized people based on their birth. It was always based on the qualities and the advancement of bhakti, like that. So same way here it is said, one should not look at Vaishnava. There is a verse also saying Vaishnava Jati Buddhi Guru Naramati. If we think Guru as a normal human being, if we consider Vaishnava based on Jati, and if we consider Arche Shila, if we consider the Archa Vigraha to be a dead stone, such kind of things, they are called Naraka Buddhi. They are called hellish mentality. One will surely glide down to hell with such kind of mentality. That warning is given. So here Prabhupada is also saying that these people, the Brahmanas were not just expert in mantra, tantra, and performing the Vedic sacrifice. Most importantly, they were Vaishnavas, and therefore, when invitation was given, Lord appeared like that. And practically, we can be very grateful to Srila Prabhupada, because Prabhupada and all his followers, they are personally coming and doing prana pratishtha and inviting the Lord to stay in our temples. So the more we do service to Lord, we can be rest assured that the Lord will heartily accept, because the Lord has been invited by pure devotees, and with the hope and prayer that we serve the deities nicely. And because the pure devotees have invited, Lord is all the more very happy to be present there. And now, by rendering sincere service to the deities of our temple, we can also quickly experience similar experience as Maharaj Nabi, how Maharaj Nabi was directly able to witness Lord. We can see Lord's reciprocation uh, uh, in the when we render loving service to him. Why? Because on the strength of the invitation of the pure devotees who have come and inaugurated the temple. So how merciful Srila Prabhupada is. He has given us also the same facility like what Maharaj Nabi was given by the sages. So we can offer our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada and pray and hope that we try to please Srila Prabhupada, and that way attain the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Please forgive me if I spoke something beyond my realization and if I committed some mistakes during my presentation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the wonderful class. It was very nice. Like some of the points that I noted down, and just to summarize, also like you mentioned that like Nabi asking for sons like Lord, and Kadamba Muni asking for a wife. So these looks like a material desires, but these are not the material. Like this to perform their duties, they are like they're asking, and also there you mentioned that Lord is sanctioning those desires, because the I mean Lord is sanctioning, so that we should not think that okay these are material. And they're like as part of Nabi as a Rajarshi. So you have mentioned five qualities. Like one is that like ruling the people in dharmic way, and getting the dharmic son in the succession. And the second thing you mentioned about always follow the instructions of Guru and the great sages. And the third thing you said that apart from their prescribed duties, they also practice the Krishna consciousness simultaneously, so that once they're uh, like free from the prescribed duties, so they can start practicing Krishna consciousness, as you said. Like example you have given is the Bhishma, and not attached to the kingly position. And the fifth one you said was setting an example, so for the future kings to come. And after that, you mentioned that any work that's not done to for the pleasure of Krishna or Lord, a separate personality of Godhead, that is contaminated. There you mentioned about three modes of contaminated by three modes of material nature, and there you have mentioned about the worship in the modes of darkness, in the mode of passion, and the mode of goodness. And then even in the mode of goodness also, you said that like it is giving the results to the Lord. So they're like it is just self-interest is there in that also. And if we can do chanting by detaching from the material, like you have given the example that I mean, how we are advancing. So we have given the note that like if we can do the chanting by not thinking of the material things like grihastha activities or like office things, so then we can say that we are getting attached to the Krishna. Otherwise, like we are still in the same. And activities performed for the satisfaction of the Lord and Guru are pure. Otherwise, those activities are always contaminated. And they like he mentioned that that's as part of the seventh verse. You said that Maharaj Nabi was blessed by the Brahmanas. That is the reason like he got the son like Supreme Lord. So there you mentioned that some of the example Indra approaching the Supreme Lord of Govardhana Hill, but with Surabhi cow, so that if the devotees are there, so there is no problem. And Raghunathas Goswami approaching the Lord Chaitanya directly. So that's why like this Pani Hati. So Nityananda Prabhu saying try to steal Mahaprabhu. There like later once he got the blessings, so he got the blessings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. And Lord Narsimhadev saying to Prahlada that when Prahlad asked, please deliver my father. So Lord Narsimha saying that your father is delivered because he is connected to you. So there also he said that like approaching the Lord through Vaishnavas and great sages, I mean great Brahmanas is very, very important. Thank you so much, Roji, for the wonderful class. And devotees have any questions or clarifications? Hare Krishna devotees, just one announcement like tomorrow's morning class will be at 8 a.m. and it will be by His Great Chaitanya Charan Prabhu.
Haribo.
Today evening also there is a class by Chaitanya Charan Prabhu in the evening 7:15 p.m. Hare Krishna. So devotees lines are already unmuted, so they can unmute and ask any questions.
Hare Krishna Prabhu,
Hare
thank
Krishna.
you for the wonderful class. Prabhu, you said the Brahmanas was talking about King Nabi, and you said, and he is so humble, he did not give ear to them. What were they? What have they have to comment about King Nabi, Prabhu?
Okay, I will show that in the previous chapter. There is this one. Here, this one. O Lord, you perform many wonderful activities. Our only aim was to acquire a son by performing this great sacrifice. Therefore, our intelligence is not very sharp. That means they're saying, the sages are saying, the goal was to get a son. So our intelligence is not very sharp. We are not experienced in ascertaining life's goal. By inviting you to this negligible sacrifice for some material motive, we have committed a great offense at your lotus feet. And then here, dear Lord, here is the King Nabi, whose ultimate goal is to have a son like you. And they're saying, Maharaj Nabi is desirous of having a son. So for that, he is worshipping you for a son. Although you can offer him any exalted position, including heavenly planets or going back to Godhead. And then they're saying, unless one worships the lotus feet of great devotees, he will be conquered by illusory energy and his intelligence will be bewildered. That means they're telling Maharaj Nabi's intelligence is bewildered and conquered by illusory energy. Therefore, he's asking for a petty thing. And at the same time, while condemning Maharaj Nabi, they're also condemning themselves. They're not now Maharaj Nabi is worshipping these Brahmanas, but here the Brahmanas are saying that because we are not great devotees, he is worshipping us. But unless you worship the really great devotees, you will still be bewildered on what to aspire for, what not to aspire. So they are condemning Maharaj Nabi. At the same time, they are condemning them also. That 15th verse mein they are saying, our intelligence is also not very sharp like that. Just because Nabi asked to perform, we are also doing this like that. So again, here it is true that Lord can give more things, but the fact that Lord agreed to appear also means that Lord understood that it was not with any other motive. He really wanted to have offer a child in get a child in a very, very responsible manner. Therefore, he was dependent on Lord. So that is what was the chastisement, Mataji. And that too in public. And Maharaj Nabi is happily accepting and not getting hurt by the words of the Brahmins. Is it
Yes,
okay,
Prabhu.
Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Because he had one point focus of attention to have a child like.
Correct.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Hello, Pranam. I seek the blessings of everyone also, so that I also follow whatever was spoken. Yeah. Shall we end, Prabhuji, if there are no more?
Yes, Prabhuji. We can end with Vaishnava Pranam.
Yes.
Mancha.
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंतकोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय वैष्णव ठाकुर श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय श्रीमद् भागवतम ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna. Krishna Prabhu, you want to say anything? You unmuted.